A new report is out giving us insight to the local economy, from the AI impact on local businesses to trend changes in the housing market. So joining us now is Chuck Gaskin from the Federal Reserve to explain the latest data in the Beige book report. Thank you for being here.
Happy to be here.
I always like seeing you and enjoy hearing how local businesses and other community partners are, giving you some insight on what's going on.
It's been fun. We've had people into the bank over the last couple of weeks, and it's been great to talk to people and get a pulse on what's going on in the economy.
Awesome. Okay, so what is the overall gist of the report?
Yeah, so the information that we collected was kind of right before the 4th of July holiday up until the 6th of July. So that's a big part of kind of thinking about the trends and what's going on. Overall, the big pictures, things are generally pretty stable. Labor market seems to be picking up a little bit. Price pressures have been noted by a lot of contacts as ongoing pressures are there. We have seen oil prices pick up in the last week or so that'll be an ongoing factor there. Okay. So consumer spending is generally holding stable, and tourism's been a bit stronger.
That's interesting, because I thought it was just going to be thumbs down, but it's actually not.
Yeah, I mean, World Cup, that's been around, so that shows up all across the district reports and across the nation. Travel and tourism's been generally strong over the summer months, so that's been positive signs.
Great. Also, with consumer spending, is there anything else that might be driving decent numbers or holding steady aside from the World Cup?
Yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag on consumer spending. So if you think about the good side of the economy, auto sales are still relatively weak, but reports from auto maintenance and repair, those are still pretty healthy. So those are offsetting people just not buying new cars, but maintaining their vehicles. Like I said, travel and tourism is pretty good. On the retail side of things, a lot of those reports indicated that people were kind of sticking to their shopping list, buying what's on it and not buying those impulse purchases. So what retailers are telling us is that the amount of goods in their cart when they're checking out is smaller than it normally is, but with some higher prices, the sticker price, that what they have in the cart actually checks out to be about the same as it was before. So,
well, that makes sense. I feel like even personally, I'm like, well, do I really need it this week? If I want to stick to this budget, I do that too.
I went grocery shopping without my kids this week just to avoid those extra things in my cart.
Right? Yeah. Oh my gosh. Did you stick to your list though?
I did.
Okay.
Very much so.
Well, good job. Okay, so businesses, I read, that are also telling you that AI is impacting them. So I'm really curious what they're facing.
Yeah, so when you look at the AI impact, it's something that we can't avoid when we're having our conversation with our contacts. On one side of things, if you look at real estate construction, AI is impacting data center build out, so that's a big factor that's showing up across the district. It's leading demands for structural steel, and copper prices are going up because the demand's really strong there. So there's one impact, which is data center construction activity. That's adding a big amount of stimulus in that factor. And then within businesses, they're trying to manage costs, improve productivity, and so they're looking to invest in new technologies, and AI is being a big factor there. Now they're constrained by the fact that they don't always have the skill set in-house to work with some of these new tools, and so people are reluctant to adopt in those cases. So it's kind of early stages of adoption, but those firms that are adopting these technologies are seeing some pretty big productivity gains.
I was going to say, so it seems like they're not poo-pooing it necessarily.
No, there's real promise that's there. It's just a matter of what the cost is, what your skill set of your current workforce is, and if you have to train those people up. And then also the cost of the technologies has been increasing in some cases as people are becoming more reliant on them.
Makes sense. Okay, so you mentioned commercial real estate because of the data centers.
Yeah.
What about the trend changes in the housing market?
Yeah, so if I kind of separate the economy into two worlds at this point, so manufacturing, data center activity is really strong. When you get to the consumer side, residential activity is much weaker. Some of that's crowding out because construction material costs have gone up, so home builders are looking at higher prices on those materials. And so new home building is relatively weak, and existing home sales with low inventories are still kind of in those trenches that they've been over the last year or so.
Ugh, those trenches. What about the trenches that farmers are dealing with? Because I feel like we've been saying for a while now that ag has kind of been dim for a few months or more.
Yeah, I mean, the ag economy has been really weak across our 7-state region. Corn and soybean prices have come up a little bit. Fertilizer prices moved up a lot, so that's going to raise costs. But what we're hearing from a lot of the farmers across our region is that they bought their fertilizer early in the year, so those costs are going to probably hit them into the next growing season. So we have seen a little bit improvement in row crop prices, so that'll help out. But generally speaking, the row crop side of the economy is weak. Now, beef and poultry prices are strong, so that side of the economy is still doing very well.
Okay, well, let's have like a chef's kiss. Let's end with something positive. What are you optimistic about, and where can people follow your work?
Yeah, so I think if you look at the big picture for the economy, manufacturing activity is really strong. We're seeing a lot of gains in productivity, so that bodes well for a longer term growth. Oil prices have come down some. They're not at the highs that they were a couple months ago, so that's showing some relief at the gas pump. And all in all, consumer spending is remaining relatively resilient in a time when there's still a lot of uncertainty out there. So overall, trends are pretty stable at this point, and that's a good sign.
That's a great sign. Okay,
Yeah.
wait, do you still have your podcast, or what do you?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we have a whole summary of the Beige book is on our Timely Topics podcast that are released this morning.
Okay.
And then we also have a blog post that just came out today covering what we're finding out about AI from businesses across our district.
Okay. Well, I honestly cannot wait to read it. I'm not just saying that. So thank you so much
Absolutely.
for your time this morning.
Yeah.
We always really love seeing you.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to be here.
Okay.